Hello everybody, how are you all doing? Welcome back to Man City Unplugged, your very own Man City fan channel. Well, in the last couple of days, since that Bernardo Silva rumors have come, the transfer market has gone absolutely quiet. I don't know why. I mean, it's gone quiet regarding City. There are other clubs who are active, like Spurs, you could say, Arsenal are active for Lisandro Martinez, for example. But around City, everything has gone bizarrely quiet. I don't know. Yes, we have completed the signing of Romeo Lavia today. Fabrizio Romano has confirmed it. We have sold him for 12 million pounds. £2 more than we had actually thought, and the buyback clause is 40 million pounds. But apart from that, even the sterling thing has absolutely gone quiet. And there's actually been an update on Bernardo Silva. The thing with Bernardo Silva is Barcelona are actually looking to uh, have Bernardo Silva in the region of 60 to 70 million pounds. The sources say that Barca believe they can sign Bernardo around that fee, but for that they first have to sell Frankie De Jong for a profit. And there's another backstory coming with regards to Barca selling Frankie De Jong. Now people are starting to question what sort of a club Barca is. Everything started with Bayern refusing to sell Lewandowski to Barca, and that's because Bayern want all the fee at once, and Barca only want to pay in installments. And the thing is that Barca want to sell Frankie De Jong because it seems Frankie De Jong has taken a pay cut of around 65 million pounds during the pandemic, and Barca owe Frankie De Jong that money, and Barca are planning to not give Frankie De Jong that money. So you can understand what sort of a club Barca has become. I don't know why Bernardo Silva wants to go there actually. Taking a pay cut, not knowing if you will be paid for your talent, being in prime. I want Bernardo Silva to realize all this and stay at the most stable club that is at this point in European City and learn from the best manager, be at the helm of guiding us to the Champions League glory. That's the chance Bernardo has. So looking at all these developments around Barca, I think that if Bernardo if Bernardo really wants to go to the next level, I think City is the best place for him, not an unstable Barca. Football Quicks is here. Hey, Football Quicks, how are you doing? Good evening, mate. He says, we like to quite work with what we did for Haaland. Football Quicks says, why not go for De Jong? uh, De Jong again. I personally think that, see, that is again the problem that City have in going for De Jong. See, we have got Calvin Phillips right for 45 million pounds, so we can only go for De Jong if it is sure that Bernardo Silva will leave to Barca. But then you cannot again press Bernardo Silva and tell him and ask him, do you want to leave or do you want to stay here? So we need to be sensitive in that issue. So that is where we are not sure about it. And also Barca will not be sure about landing Bernardo Silva unless they sell De Jong. So if you see, there's a bit of a circus going on out here. So everything depends on, Barca. Are they willing to sell Frankie De Jong? Can they sell Frankie De Jong? And if they sell, how much fee will remain for them after completing the Rafinha, after completing the Lewandowski deals to pay for Bernardo Silva? Nothing is sure here. I think this is another reason why Pep has bought in Calvin Phillips. I was just thinking yesterday, we have signed Calvin Phillips, an impressive player, but where will Pep play him actually? Because you could say Pep can play him in that Rodri role, but then Rodri can. Okay, it's a World Cup year, but generally Rodri can play day in and day out, right? In that DM position. So Calvin Phillips is not an absolute starter, but there must be some reason if Pep spends 45 million pounds on a player. And what is it? I think Pep will. We saw last season that Pep was transitioning more into a 4-2-3-1 system, especially in those critical games, especially against Liverpool in those two legs in the Premier League, against Real Madrid in the Champions League. We lost the second leg because we didn't have a good enough pivot, holding pivot like a Calvin Phillips, I think. So Pep could be transitioning this season into a 4-2-3-1 system, and I think that is where Pep actually thinks, yes, Bernardo Silva is a very good presser and all, but is Bernardo Silva an absolute beast of a ball winner? Is Bernardo Silva a ball winner like an Edward or Camavinga, like we saw in that Madrid for second leg? So I think that is where Pep thinks Calvin Phillips is absolutely useful. He can provide us with a dimension that we have probably not had since the prime days of Fernandino, a ruthless baller who can win balls in the midfield, who can snatch the balls away from the opponent and start an attack. I think that is what is Calvin Phillips. Football Fix is, what if Barca would love to have a swap deal of De Jong and Bernardo, but we don't want that to happen? I don't think Pep is actually in favor of a swap deal with Barca because, again, you see De Jong, a player who has to adapt to Pep's philosophy. Okay, he has played in that Ajax team, Barca team, but still it will take time to adapt to this City Pep's philosophy, right? It takes time to adapt to the players of the movement of the players like De Bruyne, Haaland, Bernardo Silva, Mahrez. So settling in period is the number one cause of concern for Pep for me because World Cup year, the games until mid-November are just like one train after the other. They don't stop. You don't have a breather. Sunday, Wednesday, Sunday. So I think Pep wants to bring in players who are accustomed to the system. He knows that there will be no time to adapt this season, especially. Vinay says, I think Pep's 4-3-3 becomes 4-2-3-1 at times. Yes, Vinay, you're absolutely right, especially to prevent transitions. And the story behind this is actually interesting. I think in 2019-20, that season, right, we lost the title to Liverpool that season, and Pep made an important signing. And it's not the signing of a player, it had gone under the radar. I think still people don't realize much about that signing, and that signing is of Guan Malilo, and Guan Malilo is known as the father of 4-2-3-1. He brings in variations of 4-2-3-1 that are almost revolutionary. So it was from that season, Pep, you saw from that 2020 season, we were actually managing transitions better in the Champions League games. We were much better, especially playing against Liverpool, because before that, if you remember, we were cut out by Liverpool's press in the Champions League games before and stuff. So from that season, this love affair with 4-2-3-1 started, and I think Pep now wants to take it to the next level. I think, and Pep knows that to take it to the next level, he wants two things. He wants a ball winning midfielder, and he thinks maybe in big matches, Calvin Phillips is that ball winning midfielder ahead of Bernardo Silva. And also the second thing is he wants an inverted winger. He wants two inverted wingers, two inside wingers, which he has not had, and we will talk about that in the show. You can see that is the title of the show as well. Foden could actually be an option there. See, people are talking about Raheem Sterling, the space vacated by him, and our links to Serge Gnabry. By the way, Fabrizio Romano has confirmed. I mean, even there was a confirmation from Daily Mail, I think from a renowned journalist, that City are not in for Serge Gnabry because the talk was, I think, day before yesterday we were talking about it in the show as well, and then there were reports in the media that Gnabry could top Pep Guardiola's wish list of replacing Sterling, but immediately they were rebuffed, they were denied by top sources from the Athletic, from the Daily Mail. Even Fabrizio was saying that City are not in for Serge Gnabry at all. No contact. The reason for that being, people think Cole Palmer and stuff, but this is a source, a left field source, telling that Phil Foden could play in the right wing role actually. Because Phil Foden is a left footer, Phil Foden likes to cut inside, and people think that Jack Grealish could get more games on that left wing. Mahrez is aging. Pep would really like to play Palmer and Foden, two left footers on the right wing. I think that there's a difference between Foden and Mahrez. The thing with Mahrez is a certain kind of a player, like Jack Grealish, for example. He holds up play, he likes to dribble inside, predictable. Raheem Sterling is, he completely plays the opposite of Mahrez. Burst of pace, run behind fullbacks and stuff like that, right? In Phil Foden, Pep has almost got this hybrid of Mahrez and Raheem Sterling. Phil Foden has that innate turn of pace. His turn of pace is very deceiving, but is quick. He can have the winger on the feet, he can run in behind, and he can also control the tempo of the play, and he can dribble inside. I think it is this unique combination of combining both Mahrez and Sterling attributes I think that is what Pep will be looking when he plays Phil Foden in that right wing role. Gaurav is here. Hey Gaurav, how are you doing? Do you think City will miss Sterling? No, Gaurav. Actually, City, we will not miss Sterling. The one thing we will miss is Sterling hitting those open goals outside. That is what the opposition will miss Sterling more than City does, The kind of chances we create, Sterling missing those open goals, that has been, frustration. When thinking about Sterling, we tend to go a bit emotional and we think only about the good moments he has provided. We tend to think 3 seasons ago, when he scored 40 goals across all competitions, and people said that he was almost in the running for Ballon d'Or and all. We tend to remember those moments. But in that season, 40 goal season, do you guys remember that Burnley miss where Pep Guardiola smashed the bottle on the ground when we drew 0-0 with Burnley in that Centurion season? We don't remember this. We let it go under the radar. So I think to evolve as a team, we need to keep that emotion of Sterling aside, and we need to look into the fact that to go to the next level, we need ruthless finishers, lethal finishers who don't miss even half chances. You look at what Benzema did at Real Madrid. The reason why Madrid won the Champions League is not because of skilled players. Modric was old, Cruz was old, age was getting on Casemiro. 0.2 xg chances. Benzema converted almost 6 to 7.2.5 xg chances into goals in that last Champions League campaign. So having a lethal striker is important, and with Sterling again, you're almost carrying a passenger. It's because you know that he will get into them positions. You can't prevent that, right? And he will miss. So you're always taking that chance of missing important chances. And in big games, if you miss important chances, you're out of the competition. One chance missed and you're gone. The players are so ruthless, strikers are so ruthless in those big Champions League nights. So I'm actually happy that we are letting go of Jesus and Sterling, because if they are there, the missing of chances is a big negative for us. Football Quick says we are going for Isaac. Alexander Isak, but Football Bricks isn't Alexander Isak a striker? I know Alexander Isak can play on the right wing as well, but Alexander Isak I thought is primarily a striker, right? And also, do you mean that Isak who plays for, I think he plays for Sevilla, he plays for some team in La Liga? I think. Do you mean that one? Gaurav says we are going for Nkunku next season. This Nkunku thing was actually coming in a lot, especially at the start of the season, Gaurav. But it has died down. The reason being he's gone for a long term deal at Leipzig, and people are saying that Nkunku could actually play as a cam as well. He could eventually replace De Bruyne, and also he could play on the right wing. But for me, there are two things here. The sources around City are clearly saying that Pep believes that Cole Palmer will be the one who will be taking over from Mahrez, and Phil Foden could actually play on the right wing. Palmer and Foden both are left footers, right? So both can play as inverted wingers cutting inside. And the replacement of Kevin De Bruyne, Pep strongly believes that James McAtee is the replacement of Kevin De Bruyne. And unlike Foden, unlike Cole Palmer, um, James McAtee has a unique quality. The unique quality is James McAtee can control the tempo of the games. He has been linking to David Silva in terms of knowing when to inject pace into a game and knowing when to simmer the game down. A very rare quality for a player of 19, 20 years. And James McAtee can play in those little pockets, tight spaces. Is almost like the next David Silva. So Pep really believes in both these players. And there's another player as well who Pep thinks will have more minutes. I mean, around the first team, not getting into the first team, and he's Oscar Bob. So with James McAtee primarily getting more minutes next season, Oscar Bob being more around the first team, I think we might not actually spend another 70 million for Nkunku, because it's time. Personally, if you ask me, it's time we show more belief in our academy system than buying players. See, okay, we've sold Romeo Lavia, but if you don't show the belief in these academy players now, and buy 60-70 million pound players, then what is, and then it makes no sense, right, to spend so much into the academy. You may as well reduce the standard of the academy and spend that extra money into buying new players from outside. We will win in that way as well. But the legacy we create by giving more chances to academy players is so much more. You know, the joy we get when, for example, a Phil Foden scores a goal at the near post or far post and celebrates in front of the Old Trafford crowd, or celebrates at Anfield in front of the Cop. See, the joy we get is much, much more. It can't be compared to foreign recruits scoring that. So I think it's time we show that belief in the academy system. Football fixes. This season is Grealish season. Exactly, it's Grealish season. It will be the breakthrough season of Grealish. There were some clips as well, football tweets of Jack Grealish actually practicing alone. We don't return to training, I think, until next week, until early next week, or something like that. And Jack Grealish was practicing alone today. And it seems that Jack Grealish is, especially towards the end of the season in the last 2 3 months, it seemed as if that Jack Grealish was more determined than ever to break into the City first team. You know that sense of I am the big player at Aston Villa was did not end for him at City till the last 10 months, or something like that. He was still in that cocoon of thinking that I am still the main player, like I was at Aston Villa. It took time for the reality to dawn on Jack Grealish that at City you're just another player. At City there are 6 7 more talented players than you. At City talent just opens the first door for you. You need to have determination, hard work to get into this team. Apart from talent, Zinchenko, the least talented player, got more time than Jack Grealish last season. So it took Jack Grealish to realize all of these things. So this season, I think we'll see a different Jack Grealish. This season, we'll see a Jack Grealish who's much more, who's defending much more. We'll see a Jack Grealish who's more positionally aware and all of these things. Vinay says that there were numerous instances when Grealish and Mahrez slowed down counter-attacks. Ford and Palmer seemed more direct. That was the problem with Mahrez. I remember, I think it was towards the start of that 2021 season, right? Vinay, when we were hit with the pandemic and all, Mahrez was constant. I was banging the dust twice, thrice, almost every match when Mahrez was slowing down the attacks. And there was some news leaked that Kevin De Bruyne and Aguero shouted on Mahrez in the dressing room after we drew with Newcastle or something, that's that season, that you need to quicken the game up, mate, pass and move. I think right from that instance, Mahrez transformed into a much different player. I think that was the thing we saw with Grealish, especially towards the first half of the season. First three-fourths of the season, I would say, Grealish thought that I can just hold up a defender and I can just dribble past them. But Pep quickly put it in him that no, mate, that is not what you'll do at City. The way we play here is different. And you're right, Vinay. Ford and Palmer are actually more direct, because the reason is that they were brought up in the City academy, right? This academy structure, which means that they know pass and move. They know that the ball is not the property of any individual. The game is all about, like Pep says, 11 versus 11. You pass the ball, you move the ball, you move the ball, you don't move yourself. So I mean, they've been ingrained in this philosophy, and I think that's the reason they're more direct. Especially Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer seems more refined in this Pep Guardiola system. See, until Foden reached his development age of 17, 18, I think Pep Guardiola didn't arrive. When Pep Guardiola arrived, Foden was what, 17? He was already through that development cycle, right? But when Cole Palmer was developing, Pep Guardiola already had ingrained all of his coaching methods into the academy structure, right from the under 9s to the under 23s in the first team. So I think in Cole Palmer, we are going to see a much more refined player, a player who it's almost like when Pep picked up a Busquets, or Pep picked up a Pedro from the La Masia in 2008 and he put him into the first team. I think with Cole Palmer, a lot of people will be surprised, because you will be seeing that sort of a thing, that sort of an instant adjustment to the system. Uh, Vinicius certainly remembers Sterling miss versus Palace, and also penalty save from Ederson in the last moment. Exactly, Vinay, it was in the Centurion season, right? That season, at that instance, I thought when Ederson uh, uh, there to save the penalty. I was like, is our Centurion season, I mean, is our unbeaten invincible season gone? Because that season I absolutely thought that we could go invincible. Okay, we lost to Liverpool. That was in other thing. Gaurav says, I think the squad refreshment was much needed this season or next. Yes, Gaurav, it's actually almost you're going into a new era from this season. You see, from the Centurions to until before this season was one era. You had a Fernandinho, you had Vincent Kompany through those seasons from the Centurions till the last season almost, and Aguero, and I think with the departure of Fernandinho, I think the new era begins this season. So I mean, there have been some rumors about Pep Guardiola trying out new formations also to usher in this new era. There were rumors that, I mean, sources are actually not rumors. Sources are actually believing strongly that Pep could try the 3-5-2 formation, 3-4-3 formation now, or 3-5-2 formation now, because he has Alvarez and Haaland, two strikers. Could use Liam Delap, for example, as the third striker with Cucurella and Cancelo. He has two wing backs who are absolutely suited to the attacking system. I would be very fascinated, and I really want Pep to try that back three system. He tried it for a while when we just bought in Benjamin Mendy in 2017 in that Centurion season, but he dropped it because Mendy was injured. Football Kit says, yep, Isaac is left wing or striker and plays with David Silva. Yes, is right. He's Isaac. You know, there were again rumors he's linking us with Isaac, and Isaac for me has pace, is very technical, but in the kind of positions we have vacant, I don't think we need Alexander Isak actually, because left wing you have Foden, Grealish playing there, and striker you have Alvarez, you have Haaland playing there. Foden could play potentially as a false nine over there. Uh, Football Bricks, yes, we will be next Chelsea then. You know, Football Bricks, that is the trap we should not fall into, of being the next Chelsea. See, Chelsea's youth team has won more Youth Cup finals than us, but the thing is that the system is they're just loaning out players, which sends out a message. See, loaning out players is not bad. It's an approach that has worked from the past historic times. The thing about loaning out players is it's a message you're sending to the players that we don't believe in you. We don't believe in you to develop and break into the first team. So that is the message which loaning out players gives you, and I really hope City don't fall into that trap. With youth players coming through, I don't say that every youth players would get a chance in the first team. That is absolutely not possible. That is it's insane to think like that. But what I want to say is we need to pick out certain players like James McCarthy, Cole Palmer, for example, and you need to tell them, okay, these are the players which we expect to break into the first team. The other players, okay, you can go for loan here, you can go for loan here. Your development will be more advanced then, and then you can try to break into the first team. Clarity is what Chelsea have been missing with their youth players. They don't tell whether they're good enough to break into the first team or they can go elsewhere. I think the difference between Chelsea and City, at least up till now, has been the clarity we've been providing the youth players with, whether they can absolutely make the first team. And each youth player, if you see until now, he has either been given a chance into the first team, right from Tosin Adarabioyo to Taylor Harvard Palace to whoever players you see in the past. They have been either given a place in City's first team or they have made careers elsewhere. We have not let any youth player just go haywire like that. We have seen that these youth players make a career out of what they have trained for at the academy. It might be at City, it might be elsewhere. That is the policy that really separates us from City. Rahul is here. Hey Rahul, how are you doing? He says 4-2-3-1. Yes, exactly. 4-2-3-1 is a possibility next season with the inverted wingers. Football Fix is what I believe. Actually, Grealish will be the successor of KDB because his idol. We bought KDB at the same age. Actually, I think Pep Guardiola disagrees with this comparison of Jack Grealish replacing KDB. When we bought Jack Grealish, the idea was Jack Grealish will be in that box to box role. That was the season, right? When we bought Jack Grealish, the rumors around Bernardo Silva departing were absolutely very high. So Pep Guardiola still believes that Jack Grealish is best utilized in that central mid role, because you see where is Jack Grealish best when he has space to run into, and where can he get that space to run into? It's in the center of midfield, right? So that is the role I think Jack Grealish will eventually go into. It's not the most obvious role because he's not gone to that role at Villa. He's not played there at Villa. But you look at Bernardo Silva. Where has Bernardo Silva played in Monaco? Bernardo Silva played at right wing and is played as a cent cam, right, at the most. But at City, he's become one of the best in the world in that box to box role. So I think we need to be a bit careful when putting players into a position, because that's the greatness of Pep Guardiola. He puts players into positions which even they don't know they're best at and gets the best out of them. Zinchenko is another example, central midfield player at left wing. Foden is another example. There's numerous examples around the pitch where players you initially thought they'll play a certain position and they've come into the team and adjusted to an other position. Gaurav says your preferred City 11 this season in big games. If it is an absolute big game, Gaurav, if it's the Champions League final tomorrow, my preferred 11 would be Ederson. I mean, this is assuming we get Cucurella. It will be Ederson, Cucurella, John Stones, Ruben Diaz, Joao Cancelo. Um, Rodri, and I'll play 4-3-3. Actually, it will be Rodri, Bernardo Silva, hoping Bernardo Silva stays, Kevin De Bruyne, and I think I'll actually go with Foden, Haaland, and Alvarez on the right wing. So, but there are certain things here actually in the very big games. Would you start Walker or would you start Cancelo? Question mark. You actually don't know recovery pace of Walker in big games. You're playing against Madrid again. It depends on the opposition. And another thing, actually, in the Champions League games, guys, would you start Ederson or would you start Stefan Ortega? You know, we have you all know we have signed a new goalkeeper, Ortega, and if you can just watch a few clips of him on YouTube, and you'll see that he's good with his feet, but maybe not as good as Ederson, but his shot stopping almost reminds you of Emmanuel Neuer. So I actually think this is a question mark for me to win the Champions League. Do I think we do need a shot stopper as well, a shot stopper who can actually pull off saves when the save when actually the chance of pulling off a save is very less. So that is where I think maybe in a big Champions League game I would maybe start a Stefan Ortega depending on his passing range and how he adjusts to the system ahead of Ederson. In the Premier League, best team Ederson starts, but maybe in the Champions League I would maybe go with Stefan Ortega. I know this could be an unpopular opinion, but yes. Vinay says 3-5-2 is the solution for counter. 3-3-5. It's a solution for counter. It's also a solution for maxima for opening up a new dimension of a game, Vinay. Because till now we haven't got someone crossing in from the left at all, right? So 3-5-2 would give that, and a 3-5-2 would also put a bit headache to defenders in terms of marking both Haaland and Alvarez. So you have someone like a De Bruyne who could play more freely in that role. You could have Phil Foden who could drift in and out of spaces. So Bernardo Silva would be more attacking there. So 3-5-2 is an interesting formation actually. They say that is the formation Pep tried when he tried to build a new team at Barca in that 2012 towards the very end, but could not. So there it's interesting. This season we could transition into 4-2-3-1, and also we could see 3-5-2 played this season. And 3-5-2 is important this season because Antonio Conte, look at what he's doing in Spurs. And when Antonio Conte generally, when he gets all of his players in a season, he generally goes for the title with full force. So I really fear Antonio Conte this season. I don't know why. How do you counter that 3-5-2 formation? Well, in 2016-17 season, Pep's first season, 3-5-2, Antonio Conte, Pep struggled with that. Then Pochettino showed, right? Pochettino plays a 4-3-3 at Spurs. He played it right. He changed to a 3-5-2. He changed to a 3-4-3, countered Conte's formation. I think we could see something with like that with Pep this season. Don't be surprised. This season will be interesting with regards to Conte, with regards to what Tuchel is doing at Chelsea. If they get delift, they'll be much more stronger. So get ready. I think we should get ready to see you quite a lot of formations this season, more unique formations. Football Greek says Bernardo Silva is very similar to Messi if you watch closely. That's why Barca want him. He's similar to Messi, but apart from Messi, Bernardo Silva is more similar to Xavi himself, actually. That's why Xavi is obsessed. Xavi once said that Bernardo Silva reminds me of myself in terms of his inability to lose the ball. He doesn't lose the ball. He can dribble through so many players, but dribbling is not the important thing here. It's about retaining the ball. He knows when to release the ball, which situation, reading of play. He knows how to draw the players in. See, Pep has found another Xavi in Bernardo Silva. That is the reason why Pep really doesn't want Bernardo Silva to go. When I say Scosa players without the ball don't do well, I mean defending. I think that is actually true to a certain extent. We don't defend without the ball. I think it again depends on the pace of transitions. When, for example, when Fernandino was there, he would do tactical fouls and we would have time to get back. But when transitions happen very fast, like how Vinicius did against us, right? That is where we struggle, and that is where the system you mentioned 3-5-2 could actually help us better. But don't you think, Vinay, that 3-5-2 might actually, it would actually limit the chances to certain players, right? In 3-5-2, you can only play a certain amount of players. You have so many attacking players. How do you fit all of them in a 3-5-2? But yes, you're right. In teams that counter very fast, we could actually employ this 3-5-2 formation. Gaurav says, I think the main weakness of City will be the lack of a leader. I don't agree with this actually, Gaurav. Lack of a leader. We actually have leaders. Kevin De Bruyne is transitioning into this role. Ruben Diaz is just 23, 24, but Ruben Diaz is a leader. Kyle Walker is certainly a leader in that defensive kind of a sense. So I mean, we have players transitioning to that leadership role. Rodri, we have seen, is commanding more at that CDM position. See, this is a. I mean, partially agree with you, but this is a transitioning phase for everyone. We have lost all our iconic leaders in Company, Fernandino, Aguero was sort of a big figure in the dressing room, and all of these things. So it's a transition into the leadership role for a few of our players. Like I see Rodri there, I see Kevin De Bruyne leading that pack. I see Ruben Diaz, who can be a future leader. So John Stones could actually get there since he's maturing to his 27, 28 now. So you're right about the lack of leadership, but we are getting there. This is a transition phase for everyone. Football pitches. I would prefer Ortega, but we should see what he does in FA Cup and League Cup. Exactly. It's not that we play someone like Jack Steffen in the Champions League game. We have to see what Ortega does. But actually, looking at how keen Pep was actually on Ortega. There was also news that Xavi Mancastor, who is our goalkeeping coach, he has personally called Ortega. There was personal conversations between Ortega and Pep, and Ortega was actually given good financial, much more better financial offers elsewhere in other clubs where he would be number one. But he has dropped all of those and he has come to City. There could be a reason, there could be assurances. We could maybe see a situation like what happened with Ter Stegen and Claudio Bravo. Remember in those 3-4 years ago at Barca, one played the Premier League and other played the Champions League. See, the thing here is that there's no doubt that Ederson has actually dropped a bit in terms of, shot stopping and stuff. His passing is good, but then in those big moments, you see what Courtois did to Jack Grealish. Grealish one-on-one, he tipped that around the bar. You see what Courtois did in that Liverpool game. You need shot stopping, just like strikers have to put away half chances. You, as goalkeepers, you need to stop clear cut chances. When the xg is 1.2, 1.3, you still need to stop that goal. And that is where I think Pep has thought, and in discussions on how to go to the next level, Pep is like, we need competition to Ederson, we need another goalkeeper who's better than Stefan. So because Ederson was relaxed and stuff, you don't grow yourself as a player when you're in that sort of a comfort zone. So I think Ortega would actually be interesting. Gaurav says, I think Walker is undroppable. Real Madrid game was the example last season. I think Gaurav, and another thing, I don't think Walker is actually undroppable, especially this season because he's already 32 and a player, fast pacey player. You never know when his career could just become go on a downslide, a hamstring injury or a big injury. I hope it doesn't happen, but at this age, to people who depend on pace in football, those muscular injuries become more common. And the Real Madrid game was, I think another reason was Cancelo was switched from left back to a right back. All season he's played left back, right? And even though Cancelo is a natural right back, it takes adaptation. And on a big night game at the Bernabeu, it's not always easy, to transition into that role, shift from left to right, and something like that. That's what cost us in that game actually. Football kit says I prefer buying right back than left back because Cancelo and Zinchenko can do that job. Football kits, the thing here is if Pep wanting to implement 4-2-3-1 or 3-5-2, it could be a big hindrance if you do not have a natural left footer at left back. And also another thing is teams are getting more accustomed to defending narrow against us because especially on the left hand side, because they know Cancelo has to cut in. He can't go outside and put crosses on his weak foot. Foden's coming in. I mean, so it all becomes so much more predictable. Suddenly you have someone like a Cucurella. It means he can go on the outside, come on the inside. Now defenders can't defend narrow. You have to go with your man. You can't tell a Cucurella to go outside and put in a cross. Then Haaland and Alvarez will head it in. So I think it is to evolve as a team, to get over the tactics that opposition managers are actually employing against us. I think having a left back is the next stage for us, having a natural left footed left back. Vinay says Walker is important for pacey attacks to prevent pacey transitions. Without Walker, it almost seems that we are playing with the handbrake on. Actually, it instantly you can see without Walker that we are susceptible to those counter attacks. But with Cancelo, I actually think that his positioning has improved a lot in the last two seasons. Actually, so I think Cancelo can handle those pacey counters better. But yeah, you look at any of the great teams of the past, everyone has that pacey fullback. And also with Ake leaving, I don't know, this is a left field suggestion, but with Ake leaving, do you guys think that maybe we could transition Walker into that fourth center back? That would actually be a win-win for everyone. We don't have to look for another center back to replace Ake, and Walker can share his game time between playing it right back and between playing it center back. Because as Walker becomes old, maybe when he reaches 33, 34 in 2 years, I think I see a position for Walker at centre back for another 2-3 years until he's 35, 36 at City, because his reading of the game, defensive duels, one on ones is so good. So we could actually do that if Nathan Ake leaves. That might actually not be a bad option. Football Click says Diaz, Haaland, KDB, exactly captaincy materials. Maybe Haaland would need time to adjust. He might not be the captain this season, but certainly KDB. People think KDB is a bit soft, but you saw last season the kind of leadership KDB produced. He might not be that vocal kind of a leader, right? Leadership styles don't always need to be you shouting at other players, you being vocal. People are like that. Company was like that. Diaz is like that. But with KDB, it's like that Wolves game. We were drawing 1-1. What did KDB do? Took the game by the scruff of the neck and scored 4 goals. So that is the kind of leadership of KDB. Without him speaking much words, KDB inspires teammates. So another kind of leadership actually. Football catches Haaland himself is a leader and actually success of Ronaldo. Yes, Haaland himself is a leader, but I think you're coming into a new dressing room. I think it actually takes more time, a bit of time for you to know everyone and actually gain that leadership status, being accepted by everyone. It takes time, so that's what I'm saying. Maybe in another year or so, Haaland will come out in that City leadership group. Gaurav says, but who are the veterans that can actually handle the pressure situations? There is KDB, there is Gundogan, who's another veteran. At this point, I think you could put Bernardo Silva in that role with almost 4 seasons, 5 seasons in the club. Could put Kyle Walker in that role. So there are people who can handle that pressure. We are forgetting Gundogan here. Gundogan is season later. Gundogan, you see how he turned the match around. You see how Gundogan actually inspires people. Yeah, there's a clip, right? I think last season, I think it was before that semi-final against PSG. Gundogan was giving the talk in the dressing room. So Gundogan is a leader as well. Football tricks is Mbappe is a bit of playmaker striker. What Messi was, well, Haaland is a proper poacher. I think that is actually the challenge with Haaland because Aguero was a poacher, but Pep was not satisfied with him. And what Pep did to Aguero was he turned Aguero into another level by teaching him, that link up play, how to go into little spaces to link up the play better and stuff. I guess Pep will do that with Haaland, and by the time Haaland is 1 2 years into the team, you will see a different version of Haaland. You will see a different version of Haaland in terms of what Harry Kane is actually doing at Spurs now, dropping very deep, and the passes he plays, because Haaland definitely has that passing range, passing ability, passing vision, more personality than Harry Kane. I would not be surprised if Harry Kane goes into the midfield and he'll be winning that headers, and Foden, De Bruyne, Alvarez will be running off him. So that would actually surprise many players, many people. See the footballing, what the footballing world thinks about a player is completely different to what actually Pep has in mind about a player. All the footballing world is telling, most of them at least, that Haaland is not suited to Pep Guardiola style. But who knows why Pep Guardiola bought Haaland? What is the best position Pep Guardiola sees him in? Best position in terms of the positional awareness, the spaces he occupies on the pitch, the kind of link up play that Haaland can provide. So all these are mysteries with any player. It could even be a Ronaldo, or see, Lionel Messi is a big example, right? When Messi was before Pep Guardiola, Messi was being played at right wing and stuff like that under Frank Rijkaard. And Pep Guardiola came. What did he do? He dismissed people like Zlatan Ibrahimovic. He sent them out and he played Messi in that false nine role. He created a role for a player. So that is what Pep Guardiola is. Garo says football breaks. If we are expecting leadership from the new arrivals, then surely we are lacking it, isn't it? It's not always the case, Gaurav, because sometimes you actually get leaders coming in, and when you see a leader coming in, Ruben Diaz was an example. Our defense was in absolute tatters, right? And then Diaz came that season and he absolutely transformed it. So leader is a leader. It doesn't matter if he's a new arrival or not. And the point here is we're not depending on new arrivals. We're just stating that okay, Haaland is a leader, but we already have leaders in the team. Gundogan, Kevin De Bruyne, Ruben Diaz is one. So we have leaders in the team. It's not that we are depending on someone. And also we have the big leader, the big boss in Pep Guardiola, who's himself a don, a leader on the touchline himself. Football Fix says when you sign for City first, people say to play alongside KDB. So I think it has to be KDB. It has to be KDB. It has to be Gundogan actually. Uh, you're right. It has to be KDB and it has to be Gundogan. Maybe Ruben Diaz is coming into that role, especially with the way he's guiding the centre backs. Because Laporte, do you think Laporte is a leader? He looks shaky in situations, right? I think with City we have leaders in each department. For the defensive department, there's a leader in Ruben Diaz. For the midfield department, we have Gundogan and Kevin De Bruyne. In the attacking department, we have someone like Riyad Mahrez. So Riyad Mahrez, by the way, is in that leadership group. I completely forgot about him. So this is something a little bit unique about City for me, that we have leaders in each department, which many clubs don't tend to have. Many clubs tend to have one or two leaders. That's all. Uh, Football Creek says people are expecting Alvarez to stay and Haaland to leave. What if the opposite happens? You can never guess actually with that. And by the way, the release clause about Haaland is interesting. The release clause they say kicks in 2024 and it's around 200 million euros. There was jokes on the social media regarding the release clause that, well, if someone pays Haaland's release clause of 200 million euros, they could fund City's transfers for the next 4 or 5 years at least. So the opposite could actually happen, but I don't know. Somehow it's a gut feel. Again, it's a gut feel that Alvarez will stay stronger, will stay longer because especially with what happened with Aguero. That is why it's the natural instinct. Alvarez is also from the same place, but then you're right, football picks, because South American players, you never know. The dream is always to play for Barca and Real Madrid. Aguero is an outlier, I know that. But again, it depends on how well Alvarez adjusts to, or Haaland in that matter, adjusts to the conditions, adjusts to the climate, adjusts to the adjusts to the team, adjusts to the system. There are a lot of things, I think. How do they adjust to the neighborhood in Manchester, the weather? I think there's how do their families adjust? I think there are a lot of things that play a part in a player deciding to stay early. Pep Guardiola is an example, right? How he has never stayed much longer than this at a club before, right? But his family is well settled in Manchester. He's enjoying the project. He's enjoying the challenge with Jurgen Klopp. He's enjoying world class managers competing with him: Antonio Conte, Tuchel, Klopp, everyone. So it again depends on how well the player enjoys the challenge. Gaurav says, what my point is to win big games in Champions League games, captains like Winnie, Ramos, Teddy are important. Yes, yes, Gaurav, I agree, but we have got a captain like that in Kevin De Bruyne, but the leadership style is different. That is what we mean. Because it doesn't always mean that you need to have a vocal leader. You could also have a leader who can grab the game with the scuff of the neck, who can inspire others when not actually talking much, by actually playing, and by his actions. Even that is possible. So leadership styles come in all sorts of ways. So I think you're right when you say a leader like Winnie, vocal leader and all, but I do think that this kind of a leadership style also can win you big titles. The leadership style of people like KDB, Gundogan, it's different to what we have seen traditionally, your Terry's, your Carvalho's, and all of them. But the style is also it also works. Football Critics actually wanted City to sign Dybala first because he's a City fan, then Alvarez, because Dybala resembles Messi a lot. This playing style suits us as well, and also he can play that KDB role too. I think Football Critics, that the reason behind not signing Dybala is, I think, his attitude. You see Dybala's attitude when he's sitting on the bench. He's not happy at Juventus. He was not happy always when he was not given game time. There were rumors about his agent uh, and Dybala leaving for other clubs. So I think the Pep takes this attitude thing very seriously, and also with Dybala, I think again with Dybala, it's all about it's me. It's me. I have to be the everything. I have to be the focal point, and it doesn't work like that at City. And the other thing with Dybala is he doesn't work hard. His work rate is not good. I think all of those factors, especially the attitude factor, you leave the talent apart. I think the attitude factor just dismissed. Because when we scout for players, I think yes, we do search for all of the attributes which Pep wants, but we also do a certain kind of a background check on players, what kind of a player he is, and I mean in regards to a bit of his social life, is he very outspoken? Because we take care that it should not disturb the harmony in the dressing room, it should not disturb the kind of system that Pep has established in the dressing room, and it's been common since his Barca days. Pep looks more into the outside life thing of the players and all as well. Gaurav says, I think Ake is a leader because there was a rumor when he signed, he got many votes. Exactly, Gaurav. Ake is a big leader, and I think that is an other issue why we will miss Ake if he leaves. A fourth choice centre back who has captained Bournemouth, who has almost taken them out of relegation, who has faced that pressure moments. Yes, Ake is an absolute leader. And also I think when we were having injuries to centre backs this season, you saw how Ake played actually. Ake in one on one-on-one defending. He actually brings the team together. You're right about Ake, and that is another reason why Chelsea want Ake with Rudiger gone, with Christensen gone. So we'll find it difficult to replace Ake. So that's why I think instead of us looking for Ake's replacement, what we could do is maybe put a Kyle Walker back in there. I mean, transition Kyle Walker into a centre back. He can play right back and centre back positions, which could suit him into a future role. He's done it with England as well, right? Pacey centre back, and that could be the answer to preventing transitions in a 4-3-3 system as well. Football Quick says at the rate of Gaurav, last time we missed Diaz in one game. One of the reasons we didn't reach, yes, exactly. Vinay says thing is Pep likes humble players. Pep likes, there's one thing that Pep doesn't know how to handle big personalities like Zlatan Ibrahimovic, which is cited as an example. But I don't think that is right actually, because Kevin De Bruyne is a big personality, but Pep, he likes big personalities, big egos who have that humbleness, like you mentioned actually. And Zlatan Ibrahimovic is cited as an example for that. That Pep cannot manage big personalities, but for me, Zlatan Ibrahimovic was a bit more outspoken. Pep is like you can be outspoken in a Pep team, but it should not disturb the harmony of the team. So that is where Pep tends to go for those sort of a players who keep low profile players who are outspoken, but whenever they speak, their words mean something, and they actually contribute more in actions than words. So I think you're right. Pep looks for a certain kind of a player, and when bringing in players. When I says poor Mahrez got scolding from Pep, the Mahrez always gets scolding from Pep, and it's actually not a bad thing when Pep always calls you and Pep always relays his instructions to you. Pep is always shouting on you. It means that Pep actually believes you can carry on his instructions onto the field better than anyone else. Pep feels that you're one of the vital players for a system. So you saw that against Real Madrid in the second leg, that Mahrez scores a goal. Poor Mahrez, he celebrates and he goes to the touchline, and Pep suddenly starts his instructions: hug the touchline, stay higher. All of those instructions is not a bad thing, and I think you see Riyad Mahrez, how much has Mahrez actually grown from being at Leicester to being at City in terms of remaining patient, in terms of remaining there alone on the right wing, for example, not affecting the phases of play for 15 minutes and then suddenly getting the ball and cutting inside. I think one thing with Pep Guardiola is you learn how to be patient, and also you learn how to trust the system. You learn how to trust the system that the ball will get to you. It doesn't matter if you haven't touched the ball in 5 to 10 minutes. It doesn't matter that your teammates are working hard for you and they will make sure that you get the ball in a goal scoring position. It's that Mahrez has learned to believe in the system much more, because Leicester, he was searching for the ball. At City, you have to be in your position. That's why the ball will come to you if you're in the right position at the right time. Vishnu is here. Hey Vishnu, how are you doing? Gaurav is here. I think you should make video on Hindi if you know. Yes, Gaurav, I know Hindi, but I can't speak as fluently like I'm doing it in Hindi. But I'll actually look into it and I'll try actually how it goes. Football Creek says Laporte is great, but Stones and Diaz partnership was something else. With the Stones and Diaz partnership, I always thought that there was no errors actually. You see, Laporte is a fantastic left-footed centre back. He's one of the best left-footed centre backs in the whole world. But the thing is, you see in crucial moments, Spurs game is an example, right? Quarter final 2019-20 season. It was the round of 16. I think Laporte gives the ball away to Son, poor clearance, and Son scores. Those mistakes against Madrid, I think he made a mistake. So Laporte has those mistakes, and sometimes come across Laporte as being a bit lazy on the ball. He thinks that he has a lot of time, but with Stones and Diaz, or even Stones in Dake, you always feel that there's no chance we are going to concede a goal. We are absolutely going to fight and give everything. I think with Stones, the recognition of the spaces when to go forward is much more than Laporte. And also another thing with Stones and Diaz is the combo suits them better. Stones has pace, not as spacey as Walker, of course, but Stones has pace. Diaz is that you're almost your Vincent Kompany or John Terry kind of a centre back who deals with the aerial balls and stuff like that. But with Laporte and Diaz, the thing is both are almost apart from the foot thing, one left and other right foot, both are almost a similar kind of a nature. Both don't have pace, and when they're faced with a pacey centre back, I think they tend to panic. You against Crystal Palace was a big example this season. I think in September, I think, right, when Laporte gets a red card in that match. Zaha was racing in on Laporte, and Laporte just pulls him back. He's panicked. So that element is removed when Stones plays. Actually, I think Stones Diaz or Stones Laporte is a better combination than Diaz and Laporte actually. And Stones Ake is also better again because Ake is very good. I think Stones Ake might be the better of the lot here. It might just be a bit better than Stones Diaz because Ake is a bit more mobile than Diaz, and Ake is best in one-on-one defending. Ake is the best defender in the air in almost the Premier League. Is in the top two, top three best defenders. And Stones can take the ball. He can move into spaces. Has excellent dribbling. So I think this combo is actually the perfect balance between attack and defense. But maybe Pep wants more out of his defense than with Ake on the ball. I think that's why Pep prefers to play that Stones Diaz Laporte partnership. Crazy Boys is here. Crazy Boy is here. Crazy Boys is here. I'm sorry. Hey, Crazy Boys, how are you? Vishnu says, what about playing FPL? Yes, Vishnu, FPL actually. But we can actually play FPL together. Maybe I'll create a group and do that. But do you guys play the normal FPL or do you guys play uh, FPL draft? Crazy Boys says, City is all good. Football pitches, I prefer one direct player and one technical player. That's Sterling and Mahrez were wingers with Haaland. Uh, Actually, I think Foden could be that player. Actually, he could be that direct and technical player as well. We underestimate the pace of Phil Foden. Actually, he's very direct. He has great pace. Actually, so he has pace as well. His turn of pace is underrated. So I think Foden is the answer to Pep playing in that right wing role actually because Foden can do what Sterling does and Foden can also do what Mahrez does, dribbling in and Foden has a great shot of that left foot as well, right? So actually think will be interesting if Foden sees that, but again I think you're right that that balance is very important, especially against low block teams. I mean against any team, Otherwise it becomes too predictable for the defense. You're right, a technical player on one side and a PSC player on the other side. And actually Julian Alvarez could also be that player. He's pacey. They say he's very quick, and they say he's technical as well. His dribbling, his close control, everything is just out of this world. Vinay says 18-19 Laporte was so good comparing with Virgil van Dijk. Now is error maker. 18-19 Laporte was something else. Yeah. I somehow don't know why, but Laporte 18-19 first season excellent, right? Our defense was falling apart. Laporte comes, makes it stable, and then Diaz in his first season, our defense is falling apart. Diaz comes as an excellent first season. I think with Laporte that ACL injury that he had, right? It actually affects players. They say that players are not the same before and after suffering the injury because you have it mentally that one more ACL or one more big injury and it might be the end of my career. You actually never know. So we never know that mental scars which Laporte would have suffered with that. But you're right, 18-19 Laporte was something else. He single-handedly he almost took City to that title actually. Football says maybe Laporte and Pau Torres may help him a lot. Pau Torres is actually interesting. It's gone very quiet on Pau Torres. Earlier on in the window, United were linked with Pau Torres as an alternative to Urian Timber, I think. But now they're not getting Timber, and there's no link between Torres and United as well. Everything around Torres has actually gone quiet. So I think it would be no surprise. Yes, Spurs are in the race to Pau Torres, 20 million pounds, but it would not surprise me if Ake goes. And the thing around Ake is 41 million pounds. I think it's 41 million pounds. Yes. City won 41 million pounds for Ake, and the Chelsea rumours have absolutely intensified. Sources are now clearly telling that Tuchel sees Ake as a priority along with Sterling, leadership qualities being on the left of that defense, and all of the things like that. So City won 41 million pounds, but even if we get 35 million pounds, we could get Pau Torres around that rate, right? Cucurella and Pau Torres. See, Pau Torres is exactly another Emerick Laporte. It's not that we're getting something new, but maybe we might get an upgrade on Ake in terms of his ability to play with the ball. But in terms of his mobility, his is even less mobile than Aymeric Laporte, I think. But again, like I was mentioning earlier, I think I mentioned twice, we might not actually need to buy a replacement for Ake, because I actually see Kyle Walker going into that role, that centre back role. There's not much talk around this, but I do feel that. Football Critic says, thank God there is no Eric Garcia. It's interesting with Eric Garcia. Maybe if Eric Garcia was there, uh, we might not be looking for replacement for Ake. And Eric Garcia is also not mobile like Laporte, but I do think Eric Garcia is, even at 19, I think Eric Garcia read the game better than Laporte. I mean, just in terms, I don't mean to say that Eric Garcia is a better defender than Aymeric Laporte, but just in terms of that, being calm under pressure, being calm when faced with a pacey striker. I think Eric Garcia is bit better than Aymeric Laporte. That is where sometimes, Son running onto you, or a pacey winger, Salah running onto you. Laporte is actually a bit fragile, you could say. Crazy Boy says Zinchenko is here to stay. It again depends. I think Zinchenko will leave, and I actually expect Arsenal to come back for Zinchenko. Arsenal and Chelsea will fight it out for Zinchenko, I think. Arsenal are right now busy with, I think, Lisandro Martinez, with Rafinha and stuff, I think. And Chelsea are right now busy giving tip-offs to media about how they want to raid Manchester City and sign 3 or 4 of their players. So when both these comes, as we go deeper into the transfer window, I think there'll be huge competition for Zinchenko, as well as for Nathan Ake as well. Sterling deal is almost done. I think we are actually playing the long game here. Are we playing a bit of a bluff here with regards to Cucurella? I think because we want to make it seem to Brighton that we are not desperate for Cucurella, but the reality is we are actually desperate for Cucurella. Not as desperate, but he would actually elevate our game to another level. So I think we're playing a bit of a bluff hand here. We allow the transfer window to go deep, and with Sterling getting sold, with Ake also potentially going, with all that funds, we might get Cucurella for 5-10 million pounds cheap actually. I don't know. Maybe that is actually the plan. The transfer window seems to actually be very static right now, especially around City. But I actually do think that there will be a big shakeout move. And also, I firmly believe that Chelsea are holding in the transfer window a bit, and Barcelona are actually holding in the liquidity in the transfer window. I mean, they themselves don't have cash, but see, Barca are blocking so many deals. Rafinha deal is blocked without because of Barca. Lewandowski deal is blocked without because of Barca. Frankie De Jong deal is blocked. So I actually think once Barca get a move on in the transfer window, it could have a domino effect with everyone. Football Trick says, can you collab with other creators who supports other club? Yes, exactly. I'll look to contact them and will bring both sides of the story. That's actually good idea. We can, for example, we can collab with someone who supports Chelsea United, and it will be good having opinion from their side, and also discussing it on the show. I'll actually work on it. Football Creeks. Football Creek says Sterling move to Chelsea would be done within 48 hours. That was actually inevitable. I think there was talk that add-ons and something like that is the only one that is stopping the Sterling move. A little bit of the finer details, but Sterling move will be done, and after that, I think Ake move also will be done because Chelsea new ownership. I think they will want to make a statement to the fans by investing funds. They would want to make a statement that not every owner, every American owner is like a Glazer and stuff. So I expect Chelsea to spend big in this transfer window. It's just that the Chelsea spending bulldozer has not started moving. So and once Chelsea do that, I think again it could create a domino effect. And also, by the way, Rafinha deal is interesting with just a news with regards to Chelsea, because it seems that Chelsea have paid 60 million pounds for Rafinha. He wants to go to Barca, but Leeds want Rafinha to go to Chelsea because they have a better financial offer. I don't know what Barca is doing, but do you think that if Rafinha is being paid 60 million pounds to Chelsea, shouldn't we expect Raheem Sterling also to get around at least 55 million pounds? Don't you think we're selling it for him for a bit of a undercut price of 45 million pounds? Because generally English players are more expensive, right? But again, I think it's the wish of Sterling as well. It seems that we have a contract with him for 3 years. Sorry, we have contract talks have been going on with Sterling for the last 1 year or so, and Sterling has just not agreed on them. Football says, please collab with Almighty Blues FC. He's a Chelsea fan. Yes, I'll do that. Football Tricks, I'll be working on it actually, and I'll be in front of you in in a short while afterwards. I'll be working on that on the collab thing. Thanks for the suggestion, Football Quicks. So again, guys, thank you so much for joining the show. It's been a great discussion today. We have discussed on a lot of topics. As always, the interaction was fantastic. Community is fantastic. Thanks again for the interaction. And if you have liked the video, please click on the like button, and also do click on the bell icon and the subscribe button so that you get notifications whenever I come up with new videos. And again, thank you so much, guys, for joining me, and take care, guys, and see you all